Observable evidence of evolution today. Number 10. The western corn rootworm pest is developing immunity to toxins used today. The western corn rootworm pest is one of the most economically damaging crop pests in North America. In recent years, it has developed immunity to many of the toxins used to effectively control it in the past. This is an example of observable evidence of evolution today, as the corn rootworm has adapted to its environment and the toxins used against it in order to survive and reproduce. The adaptation of the species to the toxins used against it is a clear example of natural selection in action. As farmers are forced to look for new strategies to protect their crops from infestation, the corn rootworm's adaptation serves as a reminder that evolution is a continuous process and that species must adapt in order to survive. Number 9. A special fish managed to beat the toxic pollution of New York City's dirtiest river. The fish in question is the Atlantic killifish, a species that evolved to withstand the extreme levels of toxicity in the Gowanus Canal in Brooklyn, New York. The Gowanus Canal is one of the most polluted waterways in the U.S., with a wide array of contaminants, including polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, and metals. Over time, the Atlantic killifish in the Gowanus Canal have developed genetic mutations that allow them to tolerate these contaminants, enabling them to survive in the toxic waters. These mutations, which have been passed down through generations, are some of the most obvious observable evidence of evolution today. The Atlantic killifish serves as an example of how animals can evolve to survive in new, and often extreme, conditions. Number 8. Bacteria have evolved to outsmart our antibiotics. Bacteria have evolved to outsmart our antibiotics in a phenomenon called antibiotic resistance. This happens when bacteria evolve in response to the presence of antibiotics and become better adapted to their environment, making them more resilient to treatments. Antibiotic resistance has been observed in many different bacteria, including the common superbug MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. This has become a significant problem in medicine, as it is now much more difficult to treat bacterial infections. To combat this issue, scientists are researching and developing new forms of antibiotics and other treatments to outsmart naturally occurring antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Number 7. Plants developed perfect bird perches to lure their potential pollinators. The development of perfect bird perches is one of the clearest observable evidence of evolution today. When a plant species develops a method of luring potential pollinators, such as birds, it is a testament to its evolutionary adaptation to its environment. The perch is part of the plant's reproductive strategy, as it entices birds to sit on it and dine on its nectar, thereby dispersing the plant's pollen and aiding in its reproduction. The fact that so many plants have evolved bird perches indicates the incredible adaptability of organisms throughout the world to their environment, and the ability of species to change and evolve over time. Number 6. Moths living around dirty humans evolved darker wings to blend into their sooty surroundings. This is an example of natural selection, and one of the most prominent observable pieces of evidence for evolution today. Moths living near industrial cities often have darker wings than those living in rural areas. This is because they evolved to blend in with the dark and sooty surroundings as a way of avoiding predators. This evolutionary adaptation is often seen as a result of pollution, and can be used to measure just how drastic the environmental impact is on an area. Furthermore, scientists have studied the moth's wings to understand the mechanisms of natural selection, and to further the understanding of the process of evolution. Number 5. Stray dogs that have left human care are evolving more wolf-like traits. Stray dogs that have left human care to live without direct intervention from people have evolved to have more wolf-like behaviors, physical adaptations, and even some genetic changes. Studies have found that, over time, these dogs exhibit a variety of traits that are more similar to those of wolves than of domesticated dogs. Examples of observed behaviors and traits include increased fear of humans, less vocalization, more solitary hunting, and more pack-like social behavior. Physical adaptations have been observed as well, such as longer muzzles, shorter legs, and more fur. Researchers have even observed genetic changes, such as an increase in gene mutations related to wolf-like traits. All of this evidence shows that today's stray dogs are evolving to have more wolf-like traits, demonstrating the power of evolution in the animal kingdom. Number 4. Humans have used artificial selection to create crazy specific dog breeds. Humans have been using artificial selection for centuries to create different dog breeds for different purposes. Through this process, we have created dogs with different shapes, colors, and sizes, as well as with different temperaments and behaviors. This type of artificial selection is an observable example of evolution, as it has resulted in changes to the genetic makeup of the dogs in relatively short periods of time. For instance, by selectively breeding dogs with specific traits, we have created breeds that are more suited to certain tasks and environments than their ancestors. This type of change could not have happened without the help of human intervention and is an example of how evolution works in nature. Number 3. CLEPTO sea slugs steal genes from their food and incorporate them into their own DNA. CLEPTO sea slugs, also known as sacoglossan sea slugs, are hermaphroditic mollusks that possess an incredible ability. Specifically, they can take genes from their algal prey and incorporate them into their own DNA. This is possible due to a process called kleptoplasty. During this process, the sea slug absorbs the chloroplasts from the algal cells it has eaten. The slug then uses the genes within these chloroplasts to sustain the chloroplasts within its own cells. This is a form of gene transfer, which is a type of horizontal gene transfer. In other words, the sea slug is taking genes from another organism and using them to benefit itself. This is a form of evolution that is observable today, as it is happening right now. This type of gene transfer is giving the sea slug a competitive edge in its environment, as it is able to photosynthesize like its prey, allowing it to save energy by not having to consume as much algae. This type of gene transfer is a great example of evolution in action, as it is allowing the sea slug to adapt and survive in its environment. Number 2. Hybrids from the Algerian mouse and the common house mouse are immune to pesticides. Hybrids of the Algerian mouse and the common house mouse provide one observable example of evolution in action today. These hybrids are a result of gene flow between the two species, allowing for the exchange of genetic information that is beneficial in this particular case. The hybrid mice are immune to pesticides, meaning that they have adapted to survive in pesticide-infested habitats. This is an example of evolutionary adaptation, where a species changes in response to its environment in order to increase its chances of survival. In this case, the hybrid mice have acquired a trait that enables them to survive in an environment where other species would be wiped out by the pesticide. This example of evolution highlights the importance of genetic diversity and its role in evolutionary adaptation. Number 1. Bedbugs are becoming beefier and more active at night. Bedbugs are becoming beefier in the sense that they are growing larger in size and increasing in population. This is likely a result of human activity, as people travel more and transport bedbugs from place to place. In addition, bedbugs are becoming more active at night because they have adapted to the sleep cycles of their human hosts, living in close proximity to them and consuming their blood while they sleep. This evidence of evolution demonstrates the ability of organisms to adapt to their environment in order to survive and thrive. Hey everyone! Thanks for watching this video about the observable evidence of evolution today. If you want to learn even more about curiosities around the world, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated. See you next time.